Hello, this is Margaret Mack, and for the next half hour I'll be reading from Buffalo Rising on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. And the first article is on the subject of real estate development. Holy moly, affordable housing proposed for Catholic Center. A Brooklyn-based affordable housing developer is seeking to expand its Buffalo footprint. BFC Partners has offered to purchase the Diocese of Buffalo's Catholic Center complex, located at the northeast corner of Main and Goodell Streets. The purchase offer of $4.5 million, substantially less than the $9.8 million sought by the diocese, is subject to approval by the U.S. Bankruptcy Court, which is overseeing the diocese's Chapter 11 case. BFC's offer is a starting point. The property will be auctioned, and BFC could be outbid on the historic site. BFC would convert the ornate Courier Express building into affordable housing. The complex would also include a two-story office building at 801 Main Street below, a parking garage north of it, and two surface parking lots along Main Street. The diocese has consolidated its offices into 801 Main Street, formerly occupied by Walsh Insurance, which moved to the Larkin district last year. The diocese has agreed to lease the 801 Main Street space for 3 years. PFC previously partnered with Oak Michigan HDFC Incorporated, the owner of McCarley Gardens, on a comprehensive renovation of the affordable housing development located on the southern edge of the medical campus. BFC is also working with St. John Fruit Belt, CDC, Buffalo Black Billion, and Community One, LLC, to renovate the 360-unit Town Gardens apartment on Clinton Street. Is planning to redevelop the Town Gardens Plaza with a 7-story, 310-unit mixed-use building, and is fighting with the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus over a planned 6-story, 220-unit mixed-use building at Ellicott and Virginia Streets. The 5-story Courier Express building was completed in 1930 and was designed by Monk and Johnson, along with HDA Gottman, in the Art Deco style. The Courier Express ceased publishing in 1982, and the diocese purchased the site in 1985 for its administrative offices. It contains 161,070 square feet of space, according to the city's property records. The building is adjacent to other large residential conversions, the Sidway building, the Sidway apartments to the south at Main and Goodell, and the Trico building apartments on the east side of Washington Street. And here's a little something on the authors of the Buffalo Rising. Sometimes the authors of Buffalo Rising work on collaborative efforts in order to cover various events and stories. These posts cannot be attributed to one single author, as it is a combined effort. And another article on real estate development, Digging It, Marine Drive. Site work continues along Marine Drive, where the Marine Drive complex is being replaced with new housing. The project is being undertaken by the Buffalo Municipal Housing Authority through its development entity, Bridges Development, and its partners, the Habitat Company and Duvalny and Brooks. This first of 3 phases will consist of 254 units of affordable housing in 12 and 7-story towers, and is being constructed on a former surfaced parking lot. In addition to apartments, this phase will feature an enclosed parking garage capable of accommodating 188 vehicles, as well as community rooms and commercial space. The site will feature a 12-story building with 150 1-, 2-, and 3-bedroom apartments, a 3-story row house style building with 12 units ranging from studios to 4-bedroom units, and a 7-story building with 91 1- and 2-bedroom units. After the first group of tenants moves into their new dwellings, the vacant towers will be demolished before the next construction phase begins. When complete, the $400+ million new build development will include 686 affordable housing units located in 8 structures ranging in height from 10-story towers to 3-story townhouses. This next article is by Queen's Eye. Skeleton Dojo Social Club. There's a new co-working social club in the Elmwood Village. The Skeleton Dojo Social Club is touted as a nonprofit community and clubhouse for solo creatives, freelancers, entrepreneurs, remote workers, thinkers, and misfits. This isn't an office, it's a dojo, a space to share your interests, learn from each other, and grow together. Located at 875 Elmwood Avenue, inside the Lafayette Avenue Presbyterian Church, Skeleton Dojo Social Club is considered a social club and co-working space for solo workers. The club is not only ideal for meeting new people with like-minded interests, it's also a space to explore new ideas. Aside from co-working opportunities, there are events such as Gutter Pops, Graphic Novel Club, and Life Drawing, and varying membership options that are flexible and commitment-free. In a day and age where a lot of people are still working and hanging out at home, sometimes it's nice to get out of the house and into a social and inspiring work environment. This community focuses nonprofit co-working space might be the perfect fit for someone who's interested in expanding their horizons while sticking close to home. We love the flexibility of solo work, but not working alone. That's why we've built a community where solo workers connect, grow, and support each other. Enjoy the freedom of solo work, minus the isolation. Skeleton Dojo Social Club is located at 875 Elmwood Avenue. It's open Tuesday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this next article is under the topic of business and is also written by Queen's Eyes. Buffalo Exchange Plaza seeks vendors for city's newest mini mall. Buffalo Exchange Plaza, located at 1210 Broadway, is being touted as Buffalo's newest mini mall. Currently, there is a sign-up underway for 30 available vendor spaces within the building. The organizers are seeking small business owners, creators, entrepreneurs, and anyone else that has been looking to operate amongst a community of like-minded movers and shakers. In order to ensure the professional nature of the endeavor, marketeers are asked to have a business license and/or a vendor permit. Once set up, they must maintain a clean and professional marketplace area and must be committed to community growth. Interested vendors are encouraged to stop by 1210 Broadway from Friday to Sunday between 10 a.m. and 7 p.m. You can visit WNY Vendors and Events on Facebook and look for the flyer. There is a contact person by the name of Mike Ray on the comment thread who can be messaged for further details. If successful, Broadway and the East Side could really benefit from such a cooperative type of endeavor. 1210 Broadway is a beautiful historic building that is located just down the street from the Broadway Market. It's ideal for a collective of that nature, especially if the right mix of vendors express an interest in setting up. Buffalo Exchange Plaza is anticipated to open to the public at the end of January 2026. Under the title of Community, another article by Queen's Eyes. Resistance is a living practice. Know your rights. Training marks the lead up to a Black History Month ICE Resistance Toolkit. This article is written January 28th, 2026. This week, Mayor Sean M. Ryan issued his first executive order, formally prohibiting the use of City of Buffalo personnel or resources for federal civil immigration enforcement. Also this week, Colored Girls Bike 2 announced that they have co-authored an activist toolkit. How suppression of the Black radical tradition gave rise to the era of ICE terror, launching February 2026 for Black History Month in collaboration with several Buffalo-based Black-led organizations, including Liberation for One, Liberation for All, LOLA, and Dismantling Oppressive Patterns of Empowerment, DOPE Collective. A Know Your Rights training will be held on January 30th from 6 to 7:30, focused on the Black experience in the United States and the impacts of ICE and state violence. In addition to the training, the toolkit will officially launch during Black History Month as part of a commitment to honoring the Black radical tradition, not only as history, but as a living political practice necessary for survival, resistance, and liberation today. Jolanda Hill, founder and executive director of Colored Girls Bike 2, says, as recent developments involving rampant, unchecked ICE encounters escalate, so does the need for heightened community discussions and far-reaching actions. Adding, the toolkit was developed in the wake of the murders of Keith Porter Jr., Renee Good, Alex Preddy, and others, and to honor all Black and brown people who have been killed as a result of state-sanctioned violence and white supremacist enforcement. Hill wants readers to know that this toolkit is for everyone. We want people to use it to learn not only about ICE and how it impacting our neighbors and our country, but also about how ICE functions as an extension of the state-sanctioned violence that Black and brown communities have experienced for generations. Hill hopes his toolkit reminds people as they protest and fight back against ICE to also honor, respect, and study the Black radical tradition and to understand that. In quotes, until Black people are free, no one is free. For us, these murders are not isolated tragedies. They are political portals calling people in to deepen their understanding of how such violence is the direct result of the white supremacist and imperial foundations of the United States. Foundations that have long terrorized Black communities and people across the global majority. To receive a copy when published or for additional events and information on how to get involved, follow Colored Girls Bike 2 or Liberation for One, Liberation for All. And finally, you could follow Dismantling Oppressive Patterns for Empowerment, DOPE Collective. You are listening to a reading of articles and features from Buffalo Rising on the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service. This next article is written by Queen's Eye, February 11th, 2026, and it's Events and Festivals is the headline. Local documentary on depression to air on PBS. The original documentary, Travel with George, A Journey Through Depression, Connection, and Friendship, will premiere on Buffalo, Toronto, PBS this Sunday, February 15th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m., and again on Friday, February 27th at 10:30 p.m. The 18-minute film follows Dan Lukasik, a local attorney, and his mentee, George Tillman, whose mentorship-based relationship grew into a lifelong friendship. Despite their differences in background, age, and life experience, Dan and George's bond demonstrates the transformative power of connection, trust, and mutual support. Over a 10-year relationship with George, whom he met at St. Luke's Mission of Mercy, Dan found unexpected healing from his own battle with depression. The documentary premiered at the University of Buffalo Center for the Arts last October in recognition of National Depression Awareness Month in the United States. Travels with George was produced in collaboration with Compare Buffalo, a nonprofit dedicated to reducing loneliness and improving mental wellness by connecting people to meaningful, supportive friendships. The documentary features Compare founder Bunny Skirkball and CEO Sherry Alvarez, whose leadership reflects the organization's longstanding belief that friendship itself can be a powerful tool for healing and mental wellness. The film also includes interviews with Georgette Hughes, George's mother, and Jean Marinano, a missionary at St. Luke's Mission, which serves as the story's backdrop. This is the second documentary by Lukasik and local independent filmmaker Mark Anthony Dellis. Dellis's 2024 documentary, My Brother Lost in Time, A Bipolar Life, tells the story of Lukasik's relationship with his younger brother Paul, who struggled with bipolar disorder and lost his battle with the disease 3 years ago. It also made its television debut on PBS, and the 15-minute film is available in full online. To learn more about Travels with George and My Brother Lost in Time, visit the Buffalo Depression Project, a website recently launched by Lukasik to provide information, support, and resources, as well as blogs from experts and those who lived experience of mental illness. And also under events, written by Queen's Eye, Valentine's Sweetheart Skate at Rotary Rink. Are you trying to figure out something fun and different to do on Valentine's Day? If so, why not indulge yourself and your significant other in a Valentine's Sweetheart Skate at Rotary Rink at Fountain Plaza. As part of the special programming for the day, all guests will enjoy buy one, get one ice skate rentals with their sweethearts, in addition to always free skating. In celebration of the holiday, visitors will also enjoy giveaways, including Valentine's headbands and sunglasses. The Valentine's Sweetheart Skate at Rotary Rink at Fountain Plaza is presented by Community Bank. And this next announcement is by Queen's Eye regarding poetry. Kenmore Village Open Mic Poetry Night. Open mic poetry night abound in Buffalo. There are plenty of opportunity to flex your poetry muscle. Now, the Kenmore Village Improvement Society, KVIS, has announced a new poetry night that is open to the public. Poets are encouraged to these events on the fourth Thursday of the month, except for November and December, which are the third Thursday. And it goes from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at the KVIS meeting space located at 7 Warren Avenue in Kenmore. We hope that everyone who comes will enjoy connecting with others through spoken word, said KVIS President Melissa Foster, who noted that the events are designed to create connection through creative expression. Our meeting space is comfortable and welcoming, and we will have free refreshments available. Sign up for reading and performers begin at 6 p.m. All styles and voices are welcome. Participants are invited to read or perform their own work, share the work of others, or just listen. These poetry nights are free and open to the public. This next article is on the subject of politics. It's written by Ken Crewley, dated February 10th, 2026. Politics and other stuff. The 2026 race for governor. It's only mid-February and we are already into the 2026 elections. Blame it on the decisions to move primaries from September back to June. Moving up the primary had all sorts of consequences. Party endorsements in February and petitioning kicking off at the end of the month. What were they thinking? The likelihood of freezing temperatures and snow-packed sidewalks presents a problem. It also means that there is hardly a break between the previous election and the next one up. The state's political parties held their conventions in the past few days to select the endorsed candidates for governor and lieutenant governor, running as a team, attorney general, and comptroller. There weren't any surprises. The only suspense leading up to the events was the question of who each gubernatorial candidate would select for its lieutenant governor. The Democrats and Governor Kathy Hochul went first. Their choice for lieutenant is Adrienne Adams, the former Speaker of the New York City Council. On the political spectrum, Adams sits somewhere in the moderate middle, like Hochul. The Republicans were left with Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman after Congresswoman Elsie Stefanik exited the stage. Blakeman was the party's second choice, which in this case was the only other option available. Blakeman seemed to have a problem finding someone to run with him. 3 names surfaced last week, but evidently all declined. One of them was Erie County Sheriff John Garcia. There was a story circulating locally last week that Donald Trump had called Garcia to encourage him to run. Anyway, on Saturday, Blakeman settled on Fulton County Sheriff Richard Giardino to be his running mate. Over the weekend, Republicans learned that in 2024, Giardino had filed papers to run against Donald Trump in the New Hampshire presidential primary. So, on Monday, Blakeman named Madison County, population 68,000, Sheriff Todd Hood as his running mate. That decision won't be finalized until Wednesday, so stay tuned. All of the above does not end the party candidate selection process. We will likely have primaries for the gubernatorial tickets for both parties. Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado plans to run a primary for governor against Hochul. Delgado's lieutenant governor choice is former Buffalo mayoral candidate India Walton. What that does for Delgado's chances is in the eyes of the beholder. Having a disgruntled lieutenant governor go off on their own to simply disappear is hardly something new in New York State. In the past 50 years, governors Kerry, Mario Cuomo, Pataki, and Andrew Cuomo have all had to deal with changes in the office. Former Libertarian candidate Larry Sharpe, now a Republican, plans to challenge Blakeman for the party nomination. That's not something that the Republicans were expecting. The road to running a statewide primary when you are passed over by the state party convention is a tough one. Petitioning must produce at least 15,000 valid signatures that are spread out to include at least 100 signatures from each of one half of the state's 26 congressional districts. It sounds like an enormous task, and it is. Polling and finances all point to an easy win for Hochul in the primary. Delgado will stretch his January reported $1 million campaign treasury with some matching funds from the state's public campaign financing program, but that won't make much of a difference in the outcome. A Republican primary for governor could be more interesting. Sharp could run to the right of Blakeman on several issues, and that tack often works for the party. Upsets are possible. Carl Palladino snatched the Republican nomination away from Rick Lazio in 2010. The Working Families Party nominee is a placeholder, perhaps until after the Democratic primary. The Conservatives fell into line nominating Blakeman. Looking past the June primary, Hochul has a considerable lead on Blakeman in recent polls heading toward November. Since a majority of state voters do not know anything about him, she can use her campaign to define him, a process already underway as she and the state Democratic Party hammer him with his close connection with Trump. Much political reporting about the race for governor reminds folks about Hochul's relatively close win over Lee Zeldin in 2022. But here is a little history to put that into perspective. Mario Cuomo's first election for governor in 1982 was close, but in the next two re-election campaigns, he swamped his Republican opponent. George Pataki's first election for governor in 1994 was close, but the next two were easy. It is a sign that state voters, after having seen the governor in operation, are comfortable with staying with him or her. The same is likely true in 2026. The last incumbent to lose an election was Mario Cuomo in 1994. The other statewide offices. Letitia James was nominated for re-election by acclamation at the Democratic Convention. She is high on Donald Trump's retribution list. She could very well be the leading vote getter among statewide candidates in November. The Republican candidate for the office will get caught up with how she agrees or disagrees with the leader of her party on a host of legal issues. Tom DiNapoli is running for his fourth elected term as state comptroller. He potentially has two primary opponents if they can navigate the petitioning process. It is hard to run for an office that voters know little about. DiNapoli has done his job of managing the state's financing, conducting audits, and building the state's retirement system. He should easily win any primary and general election. You've been listening to a reading of articles and features from Buffalo Rising. We read from Buffalo Rising on Friday at 8:30 a.m. Your reader has been Margaret Mack. Thank you for listening.
You're listening to the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service with broadcast studios at 1199 Harlem Road in Cheektowaga. Radio readings are broadcast 24 hours a day, every day, to area people who are blind or have a print disability. This year, our agency marks almost 40 years on the air with more than 300,000 hours of radio readings to those without sight. Our broadcast signal is provided at no charge by WNED. The Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service website is nfradioreading.org. For more information, call 716-821-5555. Good morning. Welcome to another broadcast day in the Niagara Frontier Radio Reading Service, a private not-for-profit organization. As always, please feel free to contact us with your comments, suggestions, and any questions you may have. Our phone number here is area code 716-821-5555. Our agency website is nfradioreading.org. As always, please feel free to contact us with your comments, suggestions, or if you have any questions at all. And please stay with us. Our Buffalo News is coming up in just a moment.
The following program is intended for listeners who are blind, have low vision, or